Welcome back to Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the best from the world of CrossFit. Podcasts, news, special interest, health, fitness. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notifier so you're the first to know when we have new episodes. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I am the Clydesdale. She is Matilde Garnes. Did I get it right this time?
Yeah, it's perfect.
And we will talk to her in a second, but first I have to thank my sponsor, C4 Energy, Cellucor, and Extend. Make sure you go to official Extend, XTEND, or cellucor.com. Use the code Clydesdale, and you can get at least 20% off all of your supplements. And that is because if they're running a deal, they want to make sure you get the best deal. So you'll get 5% off more than whatever deal they're running. Or if they're not running a deal, you get 20% off. I use the hydration sticks. I use the BCAAs, and I use the whey protein every single day. The hydration sticks come in lemon lime, strawberry banana, and raspberry lemonade. And they are the best flavors, not too salty, not too sweet, just right. Make sure you go to cellucor.com or official XTEND.com. Use the code Clydesdale and get 20% off. With that, I'm so excited to be with my friend Matilde Garnes, world champion Matilde Garnes.
Thank you.
How does that feel?
It feels pretty cool to be able to call myself a world champion. Yeah, it's nice fun.
So you have had a pretty amazing off season.
Yes, it's been a lot of competitions.
A lot. And you've done, and it's like you're doing increasingly well at each one. Each one you get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better.
Yeah, maybe.
And really, isn't that the goal? Like every day we're trying to get a little bit better.
Yeah, that's the goal. Every day, every session.
So you are doing awesome. So let's just recap for a couple people. And you started off with Madrid.
Yeah.
Madrid, you went team.
Yes.
And just happened to throw a gold medal in on that one.
Yeah, we did. It was nice, fun being on a team again.
So what was that like? So how many members of that team were part of the Oslo team that went to the games and podiumed?
2 of them.
Okay.
So it was Eivind and Ingrid.
Okay. And then the other 2 were not on that team. You were individual. What was the other member doing last year?
He went on a team as well, on the other CrossFit Oslo team, or not. It's not the other team. It's another good team. It was the CrossFit Oslo Purple Red.
Yeah. Okay.
So he was also at the games last year.
So why is it that Norway is becoming the new Iceland?
We like to hear that. I think we have a pretty good thing going around in Norway, especially in Oslo. Almost all the athletes from Norway are training at CrossFit Oslo. And we have an amazing athlete community with like everyone pushing each other. We have really good coaches, physiotherapists, mental coaches, and Christian Holte has kind of led the way for all of us. And we also have a national team in functional fitness. So we have a federation where we have a lot of support, and we have training camps and just a lot of support around us with like insurance, physiotherapists, coaches, and so on. So I think it's built by the athletes for the athletes, but also the federation and the supportive team around us.
So with the federation, That means that Norway considers functional fitness to be a national sport,
Yeah.
correct? How important is that for your success and your support?
It is important. I think like all of us did go to the World Championship, even though it's not that big as the CrossFit Games, or even the semifinal is a higher level competition than the World Championship in functional fitness. But I think us going there, it makes us it's doing it's able to have the national team and all the support, and that's important for not only the World Championship but also all the other competitions like the games and the semifinal and Madrid, just because we have the community and the support. So I think people kind of think CrossFit and functional fitness are separate, but for us in Norway it's just one big thing, and like all of us that are competing in functional fitness are also competing in CrossFit. So it's kind of it feels like we have a national team in CrossFit, but it's functional fitness. Yeah, you understand.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very much like Norway has said functional fitness is a national sport, so therefore, just like ice skating or an Olympic sport, we are going to support those athletes to get to whatever their world championship and or the Olympics are.
yeah,
And so do they support the world championships like the IF3? And do you get like do they send you there themselves or do you have to do that on your own?
yeah. They are sending us there, so we don't have to pay anything. And but for the competitions without the CrossFit competitions, we have to pay ourselves. So it's not that big yet, but they sent us to the World Championship, and we also have a national competition like yeah the nationals, and there's I think that was in September, the week after Madrid. And that's how we qualify for the Worlds. And then the federation sent us to Mexico to represent our country.
Yeah, it's really a cool concept that's been done here in the States with Olympic sports forever. It's just the United States has not deemed functional fitness to be one of the national sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I grew up as a swimmer, and swimming is an Olympic sport. So that was supported by the government if you made the Olympic team or the national team to anything you went to for that, the nationals, worlds, Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I hope CrossFit gets there one day.
yeah, I hope so too. Have you seen the effect on the country of more people participating in CrossFit across the country or functional fitness, not necessarily as a competitive thing, but because it's a national sport in Norway, just doing it for their own health?
Yeah, I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger in Norway. It's not as big in Norway as it is in the States. So it's just getting bigger every year, every competition. I feel like after the World last year, there was like some more people knew about my sport, and this year it was like more people again. So it's getting bigger and bigger. As a sport, they want to follow, like follow from the stream or just follow me and the other athletes in Norway. But it's also getting bigger as a training form, like just yeah, doing their own health stuff training. Yeah.
Do when you go to worlds, like Kristen won last year, you won this year, is that news in your country?
Yeah, it is, but it's not on TV, but it's in the papers. And yeah.
Do you get recognized now that you're a world champion, or have we not got to that level yet?
Some places I do, especially now. I just traveled home to my family in northern Norway, in Mosjøen. It's a pretty small city, so the whole city is really proud of me, and we don't have like a lot of athletes, and it's always in the papers here, like the first. And yeah, so they are recognizing me and like saying congratulations wherever I go. It's very cozy. It's a small city, so they are really supportive.
Yeah. Yeah, I it's funny because when I was younger and I was a swimmer, I grew up in a very, very small town, and every achievement I ever accomplished made the local paper.
Yeah.
You know,
Same.
and mom clipped it all out and, put it in a scrapbook for me to have later in
Aw.
life.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
the same here.
yeah, yeah. So, so let's talk IF3 just real quick because I'm not sure people here in the States even understand. They know it exists. I know we have a US team. It's not supported like Norway does, but it's similar to CrossFit, but there are more knowns or more things that you know when you go to a competition. Can you
Yeah.
explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a set format. You always have 6 events, and it's different categories. So the first one is endurance, and then you have strength, and then you have a body weight skill test, and you have a body weight endurance test, and one mix test that's more like normal CrossFit, like you can just take different kind of movements and put them together. And then you have a power test, like a short one. But I feel like it's pretty similar to CrossFit because you always have a longer endurance event, like running at the Rogue, the Capitol at the Games, and that could have been the endurance event at the World Championship. And then you always have a sprint, and that's the power. And you always have a sprint in the big CrossFit competitions, anyways. And the mix is just normal CrossFit ish. So yeah, it feels kind of different, but also the same. But you know more, and you also know the tests maybe 2 weeks prior to the competition, so you can test the events and like new movements and stuff. Yeah,
So, would it be fair to say it's a lot like semifinals?
yeah,
Then very much 6 events. You know at least a handful. You know all the tests before
yeah,
you go. It just depends on how much you know and how soon you know, depending on the semifinals in the past. It's going to be interesting this year with CrossFit running those semis to know how much advanced notice you'll get on those workouts.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a lower volume, I think, in total because there's always only 6 events, and some of they are pretty short, especially the power event. So, like, my body is kind of screwed after the games, but after the World Championship, it's like I only need maybe some days or a week rest, and I'm on again. Except from now. Now I have a Christmas holiday. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like you're getting wrecked after the competition.
Right. Right. Um, so before we get into next season, let's keep walking through. I think, and just so people know, IF3 was held in Mexico this year.
Yeah, and next year is in Norway, so everyone has to come.
I'm there. Let's go.
Good.
I have never been to Europe.
Wow, really? Yeah, then you should come visit in Norway. It's cold, but it's really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like we're pretty much at the same latitude
Yeah,
as you guys. So I'm guessing the weather's pretty similar, but you have more mountains.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So you went from Madrid and then you got the invite to Rogue.
Yeah.
And you did that through the qualifier,
Yes. So I had a month.
even though you had oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a month in September where I did the Road qualifier the first weekend, and then I had a competition in Norway for my sponsor. It's like ATA Games, and then I had Madrid, and then the nationals in Norway. So I had 4 competitions in a row in September, and the Road qualifier was one of them. Yeah.
So let's talk about that first. So 4 weeks, 4 events. What does that do to your training?
I've tried the whole off season to have normal training, so we managed that pretty okay. Did a lot of work on my weaknesses and never like skipped a session except the day I did the competition. So I never try like prioritize the competition really much. I had to just blend it into my off-season training because I know what I need to work on. And we managed that pretty well. But of course, it will interrupt training a bit, especially if it's travel days and stuff.
Yeah, because you've traveled all over the world,
Yeah.
and um and you're improving so much. So none of the competitions you've done this year were a priority? Training was a priority over that, or for worlds did you try to peak?
Uh, no, I didn't try to peak. If I prioritized something, it was Dubai. So after Dubai, I just took a holiday and just had to do my very best at the World Championship because I had to choose like, okay, I need to rest after Dubai, and I also struggled a bit with jet lag, sleeping, and being a bit tired after the Rogue. So it's been a crazy off season, but I'm also pretty close to hit the wall a bit, to be honest. But I stopped in time, so and I didn't sign up for Miami with the Palooza, and as I was supposed to. So now I'm resting, and yeah, I know it's really sad. I'm having such a FOMO, but I need to do something for my body now
Yeah.
and focus on
Totally understandable.
the 2023 game season.
Yeah, it's totally understandable, and I'm actually kind of blown away when training is the priority, except for Dubai, and the performances you put in this year don't indicate that you prioritized training over the event. That's gotta feel good in some way.
Yeah, of course, it does. I think I didn't feel uh, really good at the competitions. Like I felt, when you feel kind of heavy because you're doing so much strength training, especially for me, since that's my biggest weakness. And I felt I always had to lower my expectations before the competitions, and then when when it goes well, it feels really good. But I think maybe for me, my way to like be in a good shape for a competition is maybe to actually be strong, because I'm pretty good at gymnastics and conditioning. So doing off-season strength training for me is almost like I perform better because I'm too weak, you know.
Yeah.
So for the Rogue,
Yeah.
where it's a lot of heavy things and a lot of strength, heavy barbells, strongman stuff, doing the off-season training was kind of my way to be in a good shape for the competition. I like to peak because I had to peak in the strength. I didn't have to peak in the conditioning or the gymnastics anyways. So yeah.
So speaking of that, you said it yourself that Rogue is pretty much a strength event. They do have some fun endurance things, running the
Yeah.
hill, different things like that. But um, what was it like to do muscle ups on a log and then lift the log? Two different events, of course,
Two
but
different events. Yeah. I love muscle ups. Like I think it's my absolute favorite movement, and I think I'm also one of the best in the world in muscle ups, especially ring muscle up maybe. But it was really hard. It was not fun. I struggled
mm,
so much with the log. So yeah, I was looking so much forward to that event. Like I wanted to fight for a top three position or score. But no.
yeah.
I need to practice that. It's just hard because you don't have that at home, and I don't think you can buy it either. So yeah, it was hard, harder than I expected.
So for those of us who didn't get to jump up there and do that, it was a much thicker diameter.
Yeah.
And how smooth was it? Were you able to get a grip on it at all?
No, it was not
No.
smooth at all. Every rep was like,
Oh,
it felt like I did my first. I remember when I did my first bar muscle up in like 2017, 16 maybe, and I did like a strict chicken wing kind of thing. It was. I just felt like I went 5 years back and was just back at chicken winging and just like you were like laying here and just had to hold on, just wait. Like I used 10 seconds at the top just to manage to press out. It was really weird. Um, yeah, I felt like I did CrossFit for the first time again.
yeah. We have a person in chat that said that FOMO is a universal word and thought that was funny. And then now we have chicken wing. We know chicken wing is a universal word as well,
Yeah,
for how someone does a muscle up the first time.
yeah. Or when you're doing
Um,
a lot.
uh, so you do that and you struggle, but then you get to lift that log. And for someone with the long levers that you have, like that's a long way to go from floor to overhead.
Yeah, it is.
So did, and I can't remember exactly what your placing was in that event. Were you happy with how you did, or did you struggle?
I was not happy how I placed at the Rogue, but I was really happy about how I managed to get a lot of progression the weeks before Rogue, from the day I first tried the log and until the competition. So I did hit like 5 or 10 kilos more in training, but I just missed, and we only had I remember like 40 seconds or something. So I really wish I had like one more attempt because I felt like I didn't reach my potential. But also it was like all the other girls missed the next one. So if I hit one more weight, because I won the tiebreaker with the carry. So if had hit the next weight, I would actually have placed like second or third I think. But then all 8 girls just failed the same weight, so we were just placed. Then I got 11 or 10th or something. But yeah, it was fine. I actually enjoyed lifting the log. It was fun. It was fun just doing clean and jerks, and I'm pretty good at power cleans, but I struggle with the squatting. So just pulling it up to the front rack and then doing the jerk, it was a good movement for me. But I missed the weight I should have hit. Yeah, but that's how it
So
is.
at the end of Rogue, and I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room. The other weakness you have is deficit handstands. We had that at the games. Then you have it again at Rogue. And is that something you're working on in the office? I'm assuming it is one of the main focuses. How is that coming along?
I think it might look like I'm not working on it because from the games to the rogue, it was like it's not getting better. But I have had a lot of progression in normal strict hands and push-ups and strict deficit hands and push-ups on plates. Um, so I was actually like I was kind of hoping for it to be in one of the competitions because I just got so much better from semifinals to games and from the games to rogue. But I think the I was only better at normal strict hands and push-ups and plate deficit hands and push-ups, and I just struggled so much with the wall facing and the parallettes, especially since we had to be very, very narrow with our hands. I actually did the workout in training, and then I completed the workout but then I had the parallettes as wide as the normal standard, like I could choose myself. So it just felt really weird at rogue, but because it didn't feel like it was my shoulders, my legs were too wide. So I got to know it before I even got to try, if you understand.
Yep.
But I think so. I feel like I could have done more repetitions if it was like the strength in my shoulders, but I probably still would have placed last or second last or something. Uh, but for me, it was only me against me in that
Yeah.
event. And I'm working a lot on it now. I'm doing strict handstand push-ups like 4 or 5 times a week. And it's getting better, but it's a long way. But I'm really motivated to work on it, so I just have to keep going.
And you are 5'10".
Oh, I'm like 174 centimeters. How much is that?
Yeah, it's like you and I are talking a different language.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also
Um,
have really long arms, but it's no excuse. It's just like I just have to get even stronger. So,
yeah, I'm not making an excuse for you, but
but yeah,
you
I'm
know,
long.
it makes you popular because you're overcoming something that other people don't have to overcome. And I think that's really awesome. And I think that should be highlighted that you're doing all this work to compensate to get over that. And we're not going to make an excuse. We want you to do it, but you're going to do it, right?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So so I watching you this season, your strength numbers I think are getting much better.
Yeah,
And so we haven't seen evidence of the handstand push-ups yet. Going into next season, is your hope that handstand push-ups are in like a semifinal, or do you want to wait and show it at the games?
I think I shouldn't hope for strict handstand push-ups at the semifinals because it can, if it's like wall facing strict or parallel strict again, it might be that bad that I can't qualify. Uh, but of course, I want to show the world that I'm getting better. So it's like mixed feelings. You don't want to qualify for the games with just like being lucky with the movements. I don't want to have like only ring muscle ups and power cleans and no like nothing that I'm none of my weaknesses, but then because then I feel like I'm not like it's not deserved in a kind of way, and then you get to the games and you just get everything thrown at you. But I think it's better for me that it's strict handstand push-ups at the games than the semifinals because I'm still pretty new and I don't have any guarantee that I will qualify again. Yeah, we'll see. I just have to. I can't do anything about it, so I just have to do the strict handstand push-ups every day, anyways, and just hope for the best and hope that I get better.
Again, I'm not making excuses for you, but you were a games rookie 5 months ago.
Yeah,
Games rookie, you have murdered the off season and done so well with so many events. And I see your strength numbers where in a stacked rogue field, you're in that 50% mark where damage control has been accomplished. It's just that one movement that will, if you get that down, you're propelled into a podium contender.
thank you for believing in me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just me as someone who watches the sport all the time, watching you, what I see.
Yeah, I think it kind of feels better that I have one or two weaknesses that I have to improve than having like at the games I had a lot of top 10 placements. Um, and that's I think it's better to have a lot of good placements and some really bad that you can work on just than all the events being at like from 20 to 30 because then you kind of have to work through everything. So it feels motivating to know that okay, if I just focus a lot on this movement I can actually climb a lot of spots because this event just ruined a lot of things for me on the leaderboard. So yeah, it's really motivating to work on the weaknesses when it's like that. You know that okay, I have some really good movements that I can place top 5 or top 10 or like the rogue I had one second place, and it's like yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, you had 4 top 10s at Rogue. Um, and against, the best in the world. So that's pretty awesome. So let me ask you this, not about what happened on the competition floor. How was your first experience getting to go to Rogue, going through all of um, that fun stuff that Rogue does?
It was amazing. Um, it was an amazing competition, just like how they handled the athletes and took care of us, and just everything around, like before the competition, when we first, from the day I got the invite until after the competition, it's just been an adventure kind of, because how they, like, the communication and everything was, it was awesome. And even though, like, I think my goal was to maybe place like top 10 or something, but I think it's one of the competitions I'm most happy about after the competition, even though I was 14 or something, because I did get a lot of my weaknesses, and it just felt good to actually get them in a competition, and see how it was. Like, one workout was the strict handstand push-ups, and then we had the back squats, which was also my 1RM at that time. Uh, so I was happy after the competition, and so motivated to work on my training. Maybe a bit too much, actually, because I did go back to Norway and trained a bit too much, because I was just super pumped. It was so much fun being there, and Texas was a nice town, and yeah.
And you brought a really cool contingent of Norwegian athletes. So how fun was that you got to experience it with people you train with every day?
Yeah, it was something special doing it together with the Rogue, with Andrea, which I'm training with every day, and Jacqueline, as I trained with like 4 years when I was on the program. They're both just such nice girls, and we are always supporting each other. So it was so much fun, and the same in Dubai. We were four Norwegian girls, and it's just amazing to share the competition floor with them. It feels like it's Norway against the world, if you understand.
I do. Um, there's actually a question here. I'm going to put it up on the screen. And I think I know the answer to this, but does Matilda ever plan to move or train regularly outside her own country? You actually did that with the program already in your career. Um, and you have it really good in Oslo right now. My guess is the answer to this is no, but I will let you answer.
Yeah, I did train alone in Trondheim. It's a bit more north than Oslo, for like 4 years, and then I moved to Mallorca with the program to train for the semifinals and stuff. So then I did consider to move there after I was done with my degree, like the study. But then I got the injury in my knee and needed a surgery, and it was nice to do that in Norway, where everything was safe and I had a lot of support around me. And then I also moved to Oslo, and just happened to find a really good coach, a really good supportive team, and I trained with Kristin. And then I felt like, okay, this is the reason I want to move outside my country, because I need this environment, this community that we have in CrossFit. Also was that was the thing I was looking for if I was like going to move to the States or Spain, or yeah, anywhere. So I feel like I found it in Norway. And I love being at CrossFit also, so I will probably be there. But I have considered I really love the warm. I'm not a really fan of the winter. Except
Yeah.
like Christmas is nice. So I have considered to move, maybe during my career, I don't know, and or if I want to if I qualify for the games again and have a goal of getting an invite or qualifier for the Rogue, I have considered to move to the States after the semifinals until after the Rogue or Miami, just because I struggle a lot with the jet lag, and I felt like affected my performance during the games and at Rogue, actually, because I really struggle with switching the time zone. So I think it would have been nice to try. Yeah, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
So how long does it take you to get over the jet lag?
I think like before the games, we travel like 10, 14 days before, and that was not enough. Even after the games, I still struggled, and I think it takes so much to switch to the time zone that my body just get really tired, and then I'm also training the last sessions before the competitions, and it's hard to have a high intensity and not get overtrained because I'm not sleeping. And also with the food and stuff, it's hard eating the right amount because you have to eat like when you're uselessly sleeping. So I feel like I need a month almost to
Wow.
not to turn to the time zone, but to have back the energy as well. If you understand, like I can turn, I
Yep.
can manage to sleep, but then I'm tired because I have tried to adjust it for maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Um,
And you need a couple good training weeks leading into the games,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah, I
So I
totally
think,
understand.
yeah, if I qualify for the games again, which I of course really hope, I will probably go at least 1 month, 3, 4 weeks before, or maybe if I want to move, I'll do that. I just have to see what happens. You can't plan anything because you have no idea if you like. I think I can qualify again, but you never know. Maybe you have one chance, you have one weekend, so it's like it's hard.
Yeah, I have so many questions coming off of this. So what disadvantage does that give European athletes who have to like if you want to not have jet lag and you want to have good training sessions before the game, you have to like stop your life back home and pick up and spend a month in the United States before you can even go to the games.
Yeah, it is a big disadvantage that you have to compete in another time zone. Like especially this year, I had never competed anything before in the States. So the first event at the games was in the middle of the night in Norway, and that's something my body is not used to. And I think maybe you can get used to it every year and every time you travel. And some athletes don't have the opportunity to actually go 1 month before. And then, like I did this year, I just felt really tired and kind of overtrained because I struggled with the energy the last week before the games. So I think like I really want to have the games to Europe, of course. And I love to travel. I love to see other continents. I love to travel, but I think just if I was thinking about only performance, I would have it in Europe.
Yeah. So on top of that, let's talk about what's going on in Oslo. It's not really mentioned as a training camp, but you guys are performing at levels that some training camps wish they were. And what is the structure like? Because we all know Kristen. Um, she is a podium finisher at the games. She retired 2 years ago now. And I know she said on our show she wants to be a coach, specializing in mental aspects of sport. What does the structure look like in Oslo? Who is kind of running it, and then what are the parts and pieces?
It's kind of run by everyone. It's all us athletes, not only us on the national team. We're 10 athletes on the national team. It's five. But there's also a lot of other good athletes that were on the team this year at semifinals and the games. And we also have Kristin, who has the Krieger training together with Joachim Rygg, her former coach. And my coach is Simon Olsen, who's also really, really good, but he's not like I'm not doing everything on the Krieger program, but I'm doing some things, and I work with Kristin, especially on the mental stuff. So I feel like it's just we don't have a training camp each day. We're just training at the same time, and everything does their individual stuff. And we're always cheering on each other. And some maybe on like Saturdays we do the same Krieger Metcon or do something together. So I feel like it's the community. It's not like a camp, but it feels like a camp every day, kind of also.
So you all have different coaches on top of this.
Yeah.
And so if you're not doing Krieger, you just kind of do that on Saturdays so you can kind of have like a little competition,
Yeah. And
little
some
push.
inspired stuff for, yeah.
Okay. And is Kristen really just mental, or is she doing other coaching as well?
She also has some athletes through the Krieger program that she follows up individually. But for me, she's only the mental coach. But I love to train with her, and then if she's my training partner, she's like I'm just learning so much about how she trains. So then she's kind of a CO coach, anyways. Even though Simon is my coach, and I'm training with him every day.
So, how fit is she still?
She is really fit.
Yeah. She's just crazy good.
Yeah.
So we're past Rogue. Let's talk about Dubai, because you did amazing at Dubai. And I actually am going to pull up a picture from your Instagram real quick. You ended up finishing second. I need to this one. So, how unique of an event was this?
It was really something special. Yeah, it was so much fun, especially when you reach the top. It was like when you did just take the stairs, it was just the same. You had just white walls, no windows. Every step was similar, but still, it just felt, since you knew you were going to the top of the world's tallest building, then it felt special and fun, if you understand.
Yeah. And my understanding is you actually started below the surface.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 levels down.
How warm was it in the stairwell?
It was warm. You were just like sweating and sweating.
Could you hear other athletes below you or above you in the stairwell,
No.
or was it pretty? Nope.
I think maybe some could, but it was 2 minutes between every athlete. And Emily Rolfe was in front of me, and Seher was behind me, and me and Seher was like similar all the way. So she was like always around 2 minutes behind, and then Emily was a bit faster than me. So then I could only hear my own breathing, no music, no other sounds, just really really tight, no windows. You just heard your sound of breathing in 30 minutes, and just saw the same step, same wall.
So you are much taller than other athletes. Did that give you an advantage in the stairs? Were you able to skip stairs? Were you able to change the focus on what muscle that was?
I think it's better to have long legs than short legs, of course, in that event. But also heavier than some athletes because of my height, and I could take like 2 and 2 steps at a time. But I think a lot of athletes that was shorter also could. So if I had a bit longer, maybe I could have done like 3 and 3. So I don't know, but of course it's step ups, stair walking is it's better when you're long. So probably was an advantage.
In all the events you've done this season, where does that rank with the Capitol, with the stuff at the games, with the World Championships? Where does that event rank?
I think Like placement, I was not really happy. I was going out a bit too slow, so I wished I pushed earlier. But like I have never done the stairs to the tallest building on earth, so I had no idea how to start, and it was the same for everyone. But so like if I'm thinking about placement and how I did the event, it's not like too high, but just how cool the event was. I think maybe it's the coolest I've ever done. That
And
and the first event at the games with the biking and toast to bar. They are like on first place.
very cool. But this one had a better picture at the end.
Yes.
Much more Instagram worthy than
Yeah.
you in a bike helmet.
Yeah. That is true.
uh, um, so you ended up finishing second at Dubai, right in front, tied with, but eventually in front of with a tiebreaker, your teammate on the Hustle Made team, Emily Rolfe.
Yeah.
Does that team feel like a team?
Yeah, it did, especially at the Dubai actually, because Emily, she had to withdraw during the games because of her yeah, she got sick. So I didn't know her too well before Dubai, but it really felt like we were on one team. And when I when I knew we both actually made it to the podium after the last event, I was just so happy for both of us. Like we did it. It kind of felt like that. So she's a really nice girl, and it felt like we were on a team, even though we were competitors during the weekend. So it's she and the Norwegian girls, and of course all the athletes. It's nice to just you feel like you're training with your competitors. So it's always good vibes backstage.
Were Craig and Jez at Dubai?
Yeah. So it was extra special to have them there. And we went out to eat pizza and watched the football game and took some beers and celebrated after the event on Sunday.
Has that sponsorship allowed you to not need to work? Because I know last time we talked, you still own an affiliate.
Yeah. I still do, but I'm not working there, and it's also far from Oslo, so I'm not doing any work, and has made it possible to me being a full-time athlete. So it's been a big game changer for me the last year and this season.
Are they your only sponsor, or has this off season helped you get more?
It has helped me get more, or like increase the support from some of my sponsorship I had before I qualified. But they are like my main sponsor. It's the biggest sponsor, and I have some other things, other sponsor that helps me, yeah, and supports.
So, with them being a clothing group and you being so tall, do they get stuff specially made for you, or can you buy off the rack?
I can buy off the rack.
Okay.
I'm tall, but uh, I think maybe leggings especially is just too long for some shorter athletes, and for me they are perfect, kind of. So
Gotcha.
I'm tall, but I'm not that tall, if you
Yeah.
understand.
It just looks that because so many CrossFit athletes are shorter, like
Yeah.
the difference on the floor is big. But in regular life, you're not that tall.
No, now that I'm home, like I had a Christmas party kind of with my friends from high school here in my town, and I like everyone is as tall as me almost. So it's like, wow, I'm with people at my same height. I'm not used to that in CrossFit now.
I do have to tell you, you're getting a lot of compliments on your sweater
Oh, thank you.
in the
It's
comments.
really
So
Norwegian,
yeah,
I feel. In Christmas, winter,
they
100%.
say you look very, very cozy.
Yeah. It feels cozy here.
Well, we're coming down to the last 10 minutes, and because I know you have a swim session
Yeah.
you need to get to. So I want to talk about the travel aspect real quick. If you follow your Instagram, you're using these competitions to have a blast
Yes.
and to see the world. And my first question is, would you rather be in the mountains or the beaches?
Beach.
Beach.
The
And you
mountain
live in
is
the mountains,
beautiful, but
right?
I'm a beach person. Yeah.
What is it like training? Because I see you like training at all these warm locations near a beach. Are the training set, is it hard to train when you see that beauty just outside the door?
No, because I love the beach, but I love CrossFit even more. So
Awesome.
I'm motivated enough for now, and I want to be that good that I want to train before I'm going to the beach, and also I'm not like laying 6 hours between my sessions because I know I can't get dehydrated and stuff. So, but it's also motivating that I know, okay, I'm doing my session and then I have some hours at the beach after, and then you can just I'm relaxing really good at the beach. And at home, I can be more like, oh, I have to do something like washing clothes or so. I feel like I'm recovering really good at the beach if I drink enough water, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Nothing helps
yeah,
de-stress like the waves and the sand.
no, that's true. But it's hard
I
training in the warm, like because we're not used to it. Like if it's really sunny and warm, and it's hard, but also the body feels better, like the joints. So it's like a balance. Yeah.
Yeah, if I go to a beach, I'm asleep in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The the waves put me to sleep instantly.
It's a good feeling.
Um, so I want to talk about 2023. You are not coming to Miami. So
No.
bummed, but maybe next year.
Yes.
So they've announced the structure change. There's only going to be one European semifinal. We don't even know what the qualifying spots are. It's a minimum of 5. Do you even think about that stuff, or do you just say, I'm going to train the way I train and it'll be what it is?
Both. I think I have to just train as good as I can, be as good as I can be, and do my very best to go back to the games. But I'm also pretty happy about the new structure. I think we might get more spots in total than this year because Europe is coming. And I know Europeans did really good in the quarterfinals and stuff this year, so I did feel like we deserve some more spots. Uh, so I hope we will. And I also think it's fair that the workouts are the same and that you compete against kind of the top 10 instead of the top 5. Because it's hard to like rank the athletes maybe when you have two semifinals. It can be that one semifinal is harder than the other. So I think it's good for Europe that it's the change. And you still only have one chance anyways. Like last year also I couldn't choose semifinal, or like if I was sick, my semifinals I couldn't ask to get in the other weekend. So it's kind of the same. You have one weekend, you have to come this weekend, and you have to perform this weekend.
Yeah, I think from a fan's perspective, top 10 makes a lot of sense because as you're watching, you know that the athletes in the final heat are in,
Yeah,
and the
right.
athletes in the next to last heat are trying to get in. And so it adds drama to that. My only worry about the new structure is 60 athletes.
Yes, agree.
And how do you get all those people in quick enough time to not give a disadvantage to people that have to sit around and wait all day?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it also feel like when you're at the semifinals this year, it feels kind of like wow, I placed top 5 in a competition with high level athletes. But then it might feel more weird to qualify with a 10th place, kind of. I don't know. I think if you just qualify, that's the goal for
Yeah,
everyone. So it's amazing enough. But yeah.
I think mentally, if you finish top 10 at Rogue, you feel as good as if you finish top 5 at Wadapalooza.
Yeah.
It, and that may not be the best example, but like some competitions are just better than others.
Yeah.
And it makes that what is good, a good finish in that competition, very, very different.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of competition in this off season. Do you think you needed to have that competition to understand what to do live when you're going against others?
Yes, that's why I did it as well. I think like only having off-season training and work on my weaknesses, especially after my surgery, and like strength only, it would probably have been the best for my strength numbers. But at the same time, I think my performance in the 2023 season will be better because I have more competition experience. Because I had my rookie season and I haven't competed so much individually before this season because of COVID. I only did the semifinals online last year, and before COVID, I only went on team stuff, and I wasn't that good as I am now. So I think that I've grown as an athlete because of all the competition this year, and that was important for my performance next year, I think.
I'm glad you brought up the knee surgery one more time because I don't think people realize going into 2022, you had knee surgery and had to recover from that and jump into the season. At what point during 2022 or this off season did you feel like your knee was back? Or are you still getting there?
Mm, Now I feel it's back. I feel like I reached my old numbers, maybe just some months before the semifinals. 1 month before the semifinals, I feel like, okay, I'm back at my old strength numbers. But also, since I struggled like 2 years, I kind of lost 2 years of strength training in especially my legs, which is my biggest weakness. So I know the old numbers isn't good enough. And maybe after the semifinal and the games, I finally got the opportunity to actually get stronger. And now the last, like during the semifinals and the games, I still struggle with some pain, like running especially, and jumping, squatting, thrusters, pistols, and stuff. But now after this season, I really feel like I can do everything. I can jump and run in the same workout, and I can do pistols again, but I still only do them in competitions because, yeah, you know, I don't want to have a new injury.
And
um,
just to remind our audience, your knee injury was a bicycle accident.
no, it was actually cross country skiing.
Cross country skiing.
But I had a bicycle
Okay.
accident for the semifinals. Then I had a fracture in my wrist and concussion before the semifinal, but it wasn't too serious.
See, you got me up early and it all got mixed in my head.
Yeah.
But I knew you had a bicycle accident, which blew me away that you said tied for first for your favorite event that you did this year was the bicycle event.
Yeah, I know. It was so much fun, and I think it was also my first event ever at the games, which felt really really big. And I also was the first one off the toaster bar, which was the first movement in my first event at the games ever in my career. So it just felt like surreal. I was just done with the toaster bar before anyone else, and just yeah, it just felt it was some like those 10 seconds. I was like, wow, I'm here and it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, getting first off the toaster bar made it easy for us to get pictures of you.
That's good. That's why I did
Just
it.
so you know.
But I didn't
Yeah.
hold through. So the chest bar was a bit, it was maybe not the best idea, but I'm happy. It was, I got 7 or something. Anyway, it was good. Yeah.
Well, Matilda, I am so happy you got to jump on with us. I hope you had an amazing Christmas, and I know you still have the holiday parties this week. So enjoy that and your swim session this afternoon. We will be rooting for you next season, because I know you saw for Dubai. You were my number one pick in my fantasy draft,
So thank you.
and that made me. I actually picked you, Emily, and Karen on my
I know
fantasy team
that was
and
crazy.
had the entire podium. And everybody was making fun of me. Well, I got the last laugh.
That is true. It was that was fun.
So, as I told you yesterday, I'll get up early for you to be able to have you on my show. I'm so glad you did this, and I'll be rooting for you next season.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me again. It's always nice being here in your podcast.
Yeah. And good luck today in your swim.
Thank you.